There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. That is the voice of your Yonko host, Dr. Jace Attorney. And it's been a good minute since we last deep dived into the realm of One Piece. Well, I guess we deep dived last week into Film Red, but I'm talking about One Piece proper. I'm talking about One Piece Chronicles. That's right, folks. The last time we deep dived this was Thriller Bark, and my goodness, part 2 of Thriller Bark was, my God, like probably a month or maybe a month and a half ago. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've covered some One Piece action, and I'm excited to be covering this week's One Piece episode because we are deep diving an arc that's very, very special in my mind, and that's Sabaody Archipelago. You have no idea how many times I've been in the community of content creators and I've seen them butcher this name to oblivion. I've seen them call it Archipelago, Archilagopelo. I'm telling you, it's bad. It's bad. But either way, Sabaody Archipelago, I feel like people sleep on this arc way too much. I think this is we all say peak piece almost every arc, right? Oh my God, Skypiea, peak piece. Oh my God, Water 7, peak piece. I think Sabaody is up there with the greats. And I'm going to explain why, because Sabaody does something very different that no other arc in One Piece has done before. And I want to say no other arc in One Piece has done afterwards. I feel like it laid out a precedent for certain arcs that occur after this one. But I'm not alone to deep dive this week's episode of the Yonko Table. With me, as always, is fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop. Grandmaster, I ask you every week, did you skip Sabaody?
No, never skipped Sabaody, no.
Never. You
No.
only skipped Foxy, Skypiea,
I never
and
skipped
Thriller
Skypiea.
Bark.
I never skipped Thriller Bark. I only skipped Foxy, literally.
I see.
So yeah, no, I've seen Sabaody and its greatness. Yes, Archipelago. I'm surprised people don't know how to say the word archipelago. It's
You'd be
geography.
very, very surprised.
Just
very
literally,
surprised.
it's literally geography. Take a geography class, whatever.
A high school geography class?
Yes, high school geography.
Elementary?
Yes. Somewhere in primary education to secondary. Yes, archipelago. Goodness gracious. But yes, I would agree. A lot of great stuff happens here. It's very much kind of a game-changing arc. I think after this arc, we enter a territory of One Piece that we have never been in before. And yeah, with that said, this arc is clearly set up. But with that said, it's really great setup.
Oh, phenomenal setup. And the thing is, you know, what sets Archipelago apart from, I don't know why I call it Archipelago, Sabaody. People call it Sabaody. What sets Sabaody apart from the other arcs in One Piece, I feel like it's the first one where there's really not a big bad. You know, like there are antagonistic forces at play in Sabaody, but there's not like a central figure where Luffy and the crew arrive on the island and they're like, all right, that's the guy Luffy has to beat the ass of, you know? You're like, you go to Alabasta, clearly he has to beat Crocodile. You go to Skypiea, clearly he has to beat Enel or Eneru, whatever. Sabaody, there's really no one, and I like that. I like that it does that because it's something that Oda, up until this point, he never really did before. You go back in every other arc in One Piece, up until this point, there's always been some central force that Luffy was going to be the one that had to fight this guy. Every single one.
Let me counter.
Go ahead. Tell me.
I think there's only like two major arcs
Go
that
ahead.
come to mind. Actually, maybe 3 now that serve. I feel again this is a very transitional arc here. You're right. There is no big bad. I don't believe this is the first time we've seen this though. I think you could throw Jaya.
Whiskey Tea?
I was gonna say Whiskey Peak, Jaya, and the one with the giant bugs.
The giant bugs. Oh,
Where they
Little
got-
Garden.
Little Garden.
Little Garden had Mr. 3. Mr.
Ah!
3. Mr. 3 was the one. Like I know it's like, oh man, Mr. 3, really? The Mr. 3 was the guy of Little Garden. For Jaya. Go
It was
ahead.
Bellamy. For Jaya's technically Bellamy is the
Right.
you
And
can make that argument.
for Jaya, I was even gonna say like it's a lead in to Skypiea. Like usually Jaya's just considered like that intro, that prologue for
Right.
the greater arc of Skypiea. But you could say Bellamy.
You
Right.
could say that though too for Whiskey Peak and Little Garden. They are the greater lead in to the Alabasta arc as
Right.
far as the Alabasta saga goes. And same thing kind of happens here. As far as yes, there is no big central bad, but there is so much lead in to what's to come next in One Piece. And I guess the next couple of arcs, a lot of it is really big lead in with it getting bigger and bigger every time. But with that said, what sets this apart from say Jaya or Whiskey Peak
A lot.
and
So
Little Garden?
much.
There's so much world building that happens here, and it seems like it's a lot at first.
It's almost overwhelming a little bit.
It
Just
is
a little
somewhat-
bit. Just a little bit.
It is. They ask you to meet X amount of new characters, and it's like, dang, that's a lot. And I don't think I'm gonna care about any of these people. And it's crazy because where we are in One Piece right now, there's probably only maybe like one of these people that we meet who we've not spent significant time with. But with everybody, and I'll remind you later on.
Okay.
But with that said, everybody else we have grown to care about.
These
at
are
some
characters.
point.
These are like allies and or enemies or frenemies.
Or both. Yeah.
Both.
They're intermixing, they're interchanging, and it's like, man, I thought Oda forgot about these people. No,
Nope.
no,
This
didn't.
arc is very intentional with its placement and its purpose.
Right.
I feel like there is a man. I don't want to say midness because there is something with the arc that I'm not entirely a fan of, and that's like the first, maybe third of it, like the first third portion.
Getting to Sabaody is not as fun as what actually
Right,
happens.
exactly. It's before we get to Sabaody where I'm kind of like, what is this? What's going on? But you know, kind of like where we left off last week, right? Ace is in trouble, or at least his Vivre card is like, you know, disintegrating, and they don't know exactly what's going on with Ace though at this point, right?
Right.
That's where they remind Luffy, hey, Luffy, Ace goes on his own adventures. You just gotta, you know, leave him alone. Or actually, Luffy's the one that basically says that.
Yeah, Luffy says Ace is, you know, he's got his own journey. So
Right.
Yeah.
So we know he's going on his own journey. Luffy just got done defeating Gecko Moria, and we are so of course the Straw Hats, they're sailing out. They meet up with a mermaid, right? Kami? How is it? Kami or Kami?
I don't know. I call her Kami. I always call her
Kami?
Kami.
Okay.
Yes.
She's a mermaid, right? The first mermaid, which is really huge because, well, not the first one technically.
Kokoro. Granny
Kokoro.
Kokoro. Yes.
Right. But do you like Kami? Do you like Kami at all? Like, she's just like, oh yeah, she's just a mermaid.
She's cool. Her and the starfish, Papoog, right? Whatever his name is.
Papoog, yeah, the starfish. I always in my mind, doesn't he have like a hat that's I don't know why it always looks like a Jamaican hat to me. So whenever I look at it, I always think, man, if 4Kids ever got this far, they would probably make him sound like Sebastian from The Little Mermaid.
That doesn't surprise me. If I can see them doing that. I feel they'd be the type. I mean, they gave Shanks way to go, Luffy. So
What? Okay, you say that, right? I like that. I like that Australian accent
or
of
I love how
Shanks.
you don't turn your back to me. I'm Dracu Haka and Mihawk.
Oh, he's like French? He's like French?
No, it's like Spanish.
Oh, well, they give him like Antonio Banderas, Puss in Boots type of
Yes.
vibe. That's funny. I like it. I
It's
like it.
dumb, but yeah, they probably would have had a field day with accents eventually
Right.
with all One Piece characters. It's terrible. But yeah, they're here.
It is.
They're cool, I guess.
Right. I think at this point is something where Oda and we mentioned it at the end of kind of like the post epilogue of Water 7, where Oda starts reintroducing old characters back into the story, characters that you might not have seen since like the early 50 or 40 chapters. Now they're making a return in chapter 400 or something, right?
Right.
So, you meet up with Cammy and you learn that basically there's like this mysterious person that she wants to save, an octopus fritter cook, a chef, and everyone's wondering like, who's this suspicious person?
Well,
Who are we saving?
Well, they say his name. They say Hachan.
Hachan, right?
But however, they're like, oh, we once met a fisherman, who was an octopus, but back then he was known as Hachi.
Hachi, right?
Not
he was
Hachan.
a pirate,
right? Yeah, he was a pirate, right? So they're not thinking anything about it.
Right. I think Nami's the only one that's getting a little suspicious in this. She's like
it sounds too close
to
not be Hachi.
Right. And you kind of learn from here like the valuable or I guess the rarity of how people perceive mermaids and just fishermen in general. Like apparently mermaids being sold off as slaves is like a commodity in the One Piece mythos. They are very, very valuable. As well as I don't think fishermen necessarily, at least not yet. They're more so used as they are not treated well, fishermen. None of them are treated well, but
they're treated as like second class citizens, if not worse. Right. Mermaids are treated as commodity. I think this is the One Piece arc that introduces the concept of slavery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Oda. I think this is the one. Because I was rereading this arc in preparation for this pod. Reading it again, I feel like Oda really went to some dark places with with these concepts. Like he didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't like just gloss over it or kind of like give you like a baby's version of slavery. No, he gets into it. I think Oda, for the context of One Piece and how he portrays slavery, I think he does it in a masterclass way. He does it very, very well. With the mermaids, and of course, Luffy and them agree to help save whoever this mystery person is in exchange for the food, I guess, the octopus fritter stuff. So you start getting inklings of like who is the person that captured Hachan, who has them captive, right? I'll be honest, I remember when I was reading this arc, like originally back then, there was I kid you not, there was this big mystery on who this person was because what are they called? They're called the Flying Fish Riders, something like that.
I think so. This is okay. There is a section, I don't know why this happened, but there's a section of Sabaody Archipelago that I'm not so familiar with. I think it is this first third. They like ride the flying fish bikes or fish. They're actually fish, right?
Yes, they are fish.
Right.
I'll be honest, they play this big mystery with the leader, right? Duval. And Duval is basically this guy in like a iron mask type of thing, and he's like he notices the Straw Hats and he's like, oh man, I can't wait to get my revenge. And he starts talking like a Southern accent, and it just sounds so bad. And even his subordinates notice it. They're like, "Oh my God, boss is so mad that he's reverting back to his southern roots." He's like, "Damn those straw hat pirates." He's crazy. He's crazy.
What are you watching this? The dub?
No, this is like when
the English translation?
The English translation, they use like very southern I don't know what you would call
Southern dialect.
Southern dialect, and even
Southern lingo.
And his subordinates noted, like they comment on that saying, "Oh my God, boss is so mad. His dialect is changing to like a Southern style accent," and you see it in the dialect and then how he's talking.
Okay.
So this first part of One Piece for Sabaody, what had me hooked at first was, who is this guy? He hates the Straw Hats. He has a vendetta against them. I'll be honest, even though it would make no sense whatsoever, the armor and with how angry this guy was, and just the fact that he has history with the Straw Hats, reading this back then, I kid you not, I thought this was Don Krieg.
Oh, I see.
I thought it was Don Krieg. I'm like, who else could this be? Like, design wise, he kind of looked like Don Krieg a little bit with like the armor and everything. And he had a vendetta against, and I would think it makes sense, you know, Luffy and the gang, they didn't destroy his armada back then, but Mihawk did. But, you know, I would accept it if it was Don Krieg. But then it's like, how the hell did Don Krieg set up a base ahead of the Straw Hats in the Grand Line? They barely survived the Grand Line upon entry. Like, there's
right.
no way.
No, Don Krieg's not getting ahead of them. No way.
He's not. And it turns out it's his name is Duval, right? Luffy and the gang get there. They start fighting him, and again, they keep playing this up. Like, Luffy knocks off his mask like during the scuffle. They start like progressing through the fight with them, and they're saying, "Oh my God, I know him," and they're like dead serious. They're like, who is it? Who's Duval? Who's Duval?
I don't know. Who is he?
You don't know who Duval is?
No, that's what I'm saying. There's a third, like you said, the third of One Piece. I don't know.
The gag is Duval is the actual person on Sanji's wanted poster.
Oh, okay.
You forgot about that? Was like the big
yes,
twist.
I did. I forgot. Wow, that's funny.
it's funny, but oh man, this first part of Sabaody is just so I don't like how they handled that twist. Like, it's funny for sure. It is funny. But I didn't like how they kind of just were like, nope,
well, it's definitely for gag.
Right, exactly. It's just Duval. It's just the guy, and they of course play it for laughs. They're like, oh man, I was just your honest run-of-the-mill gangster. Like, he plays it off, right, as like his vendetta against the Straw Hats is that because of what they did, the government always chases him now. And that's why he wears the iron mask, because he can't show his face because they think he's Blackleg Sanji out in public. And now they want to get him. Now they want to capture him. And he plays it off as, you know, I wasn't always like this. I was just your honest, hardworking gangster and like a loan shark. He was a loan shark, and it's like, excuse you? What were you doing before? And you're saying it was just an honest work. It was an honest day's work. I just minded my own business, beat up some people when I needed to. It was an honest living. And then Blackleg stole my freedom. I hate the Straw Hats. I'm guessing you don't care either way about this portion because you don't even remember it.
I don't remember it, no. And then two, there is so much other greater things that happen in this arc. but I just pulled it up and now I am reminded. Yes, I see it now. He's literally that nasty. We couldn't get a picture of Sanji, so we drew this up, and he happens to have the face. Right.
But Sanji does him a favor. He brings back his favorite move, which you liked from Water 7, because I know you enjoyed that fight.
I don't.
Sanji versus Wanze fight, where he does his plastic surgery kick course.
He rearranges his face, right? It makes him more appealing.
More appealing. He looks handsome, quote, I guess.
Right.
He looks much more, I guess, attractive by One Piece standards, and he recognizes that. And now Duval is just this silly looking semi-handsome guy that's like, oh my god, I look so handsome, thank you, Sanji and the Straw Hats, we'll do anything for you now, which is important, right? Because they play a very pivotal role in
they prove their worth.
They prove their worth.
They do one little thing that proves their worth, right?
So that establishes the flying fish riders and Duval, and of course they rescue Hachi, and Hachi, you get this little moment with Hachi and Nami where like Hachi's like really like, first Hachi didn't even want to meet the Straw Hats. He like spit ink all over his body whenever they came into the port, and he's like, oh my god, I hope they don't see me. And they all still recognize him. It's a good gag. But you get this moment with Sanji and Hachi. I feel like it's kind of nice because Hachi knows what he did to Nami and what his crew did.
He's apologetic for it.
Right. He feels bad. And, like in making the octopus fritters, he's trying to warm up to Nami, saying like, Nami, do you what do you think of the food? And she's like, don't think that I'm going to forgive you for this. And he's like, oh, no, of course not. I understand. I'm just asking about the food. That's it. And Nami's warming up to him a bit. She's like, oh, the food is really good. The food is really, really good. I'm not going to forgive you, but this is some good octopus fritter, damn it.
Which I don't blame Nami at all. I get it. He's part of the crew that tormented her village, saw the death of her foster mother.
Right.
I get it. Nami she's not holding a grudge, but it doesn't mean she has to forgive, but she can move forward in a way that's, where she's not holding on to so much anger, but
right.
It makes sense. I feel this is a good moment for Nami, and it just kind of brings it all together, as far as just because you've gone through a tragedy and someone realizes the error of their ways does not mean you are automatically forgiven for one good deed.
Right, so. Exactly. Because it looks like Hachi has changed for the most part, right? At least the cover stories. I know you don't read the cover stories, but
I remember some of them. He was like giving rides to people.
Yeah, this was it. Yeah.
The barrels. Right?
The barrels, right? The octopus stand. He had his own stand and everything.
Right. So I do recall some of them.
It looks like he's trying to change. He's trying to change.
Right.
So
which is good.
Nice.
Which is good.
Right. Exactly. So I enjoyed that little development with Hachi, and it's just great to see Hachi again because again, it's a character we haven't seen since Arlong, and especially we haven't seen since those early cover stories. I think his was like one of the very early cover stories that we got in One Piece. So nice to see Oda reintroduce him back into the story. But now we're getting into the meat of Sabaody. This is the meat of Sabaody. Hachi agrees to help the Straw Hats because they rescued Cammy, they rescued him, and they're like, hey, I'm gonna help you guys get to Fishman Island. But to get to Fishman Island, we need to make a stop at Sabaody because the log pose is pointing to Fishman Island, but Fishman Island is down underwater. They can't go underwater. So
I mean, you can, but not with these.
Not with these. So what do you need? You need some coating. You need some coating from Sabaody. Sabaody has some special coating that's like a bubble coat thing that lets you go underwater so that you don't die from pressure or drown. Those are two
Right.
very important things. So Straw
Very
Hats,
important.
very important, very important. So the Straw Hats go to Sabaody, and oh my god, I don't even know where to start with this. There are so many peak moments in Sabaody I just absolutely love. I just absolutely love. You get a fair warning from Hachi, basically telling the Straw Hats, listen, guys, this place is very close to Navy HQ, Marie Joie, another name drop that's really important, right? And the whole point of this is like, do not cause a ruckus. And Hachi makes it a point to tell Luffy, do not do anything. Don't punch anyone, don't make a scene, don't do anything. And they all make a promise. They're like, okay, all right, we won't do anything, Hachi. We promise. And of course, Hachi has to go in disguise, and so does Cammy, which is important because them being in disguise shows how fishmen are treated on the surface along with mermaids. Right.
Yes, it is. Again, this idea of slavery is introduced here, and second-class citizens, right?
They have an auction house here,
which is
sell slaves.
And it's interesting too, because when we first meet fishmen way back in Arlong Park, they're the bad guys and they're like powerful.
Right. They seem like the superior. I mean, like, I guess
that's
really
their
strong.
Complex too. Well, they have the superiority complex too, but never once is it like from a point of all fishmen are evil, or like fishmen, I can't believe these fishmen are in power. They're supposed to be second-class citizens. It's just like, the pirate crew that happened to take over our village happened to be fishmen. And that was it. And now we get to the Grand Line and we get to Sabaody Archipelago, and it puts things in major perspective. And it kind of shows just kind of the gap between what's going on in the Grand Line and some of the seas, North Blue, South Blue, East Blue, and all that.
It makes you wonder if Arlong ventured to the East Blue because he kind of wanted to feel superior, compared to the rest of the world.
Right, because it's so disconnected, and it's a very interesting juxtaposition. Hachi was a man in power when we first met him. Now he can't even show his face here without being subjected to some kind of persecution from somebody.
Right.
And then Cammy too. I mean, we haven't seen much of mermaids, but technically Kokoro was in hiding. Who knows what could have happened to her?
I mean, yeah, Kokoro wasn't going around advertising her mermaidness. She reached that age of maturity to where she can now look like a human on the surface. And it's like, all right, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna reveal that I'm a mermaid. So yeah, it's really nice to see Oda kind of just doing this expansion on how different people are viewed throughout the world. Because kind of like in every island that we went to, in terms of how people are perceived, it's kind of secluded in that kingdom or in that country. Drum Kingdom views things this way in this country, in this kingdom. Alabasta views things this way in this kingdom. Sabaody is like a global perspective. Fishmen are not viewed as second-class citizens on just Sabaody. Globally, they are viewed as second-class citizens. And Sabaody is one of the core reasons why they're viewed that way. It's next to Marie Joie, Navy HQ. It's near Fishman Island, and they have a slave auction house that sells a variety of slaves. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think even I had looked this up too. You see minks on the slave auction list. You don't see them any minks in particular.
Oh,
but
names.
They're like, I think it's listed on there. It says a mink is up for.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a spot, or I blink and you miss.
Right. I remember the list. I remember like mermaids were at the top. Like mermaids were like cream of the crop. This is the auction item to save your bidding for.
This is what people came for, right?
Right, exactly. So, you know, you get introduced to the slave auction. You get introduced to a bunch of characters in here. Oh man, where do you want to start in terms of like
Oh God,
Peak.
I don't even know the order of how this thing starts. What, they go to the coding guy?
They go to the coding, right? They go to the coding shop. I forget her name. I always forget her name. Shaky. Funny enough, Shaky gets a big reveal much later in the One Piece story. And it's like, oh wow, now I know why she's important.
Actually, there's an interesting theory going around about Shaky and her husband. Interestingly.
Wait, does she have a husband?
Yes.
Or is that the theory that
No, she has a husband.
Who's her husband?
The coding guy.
Oh, is it? Oh wow, I didn't.
Yeah, they just revealed that in the recent chapter.
Wow. Okay, I need to go back and read that then.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So right, Shaky, you just view her as like the coding shop keeper.
She runs the shop, right?
She runs the shop, but she's basically telling them, "Hey, Straw Hats, you know, the coding guy is somewhere out in the archipelago. You could either wait here or go out and find him." So there you go. So they decide to kind of go out and find him a little bit, right?
Yes.
And it's revealed later that, you know, the coding guy, who is he? Who's the coding guy?
They just know him as Rayleigh, no?
I think he gets introduced as Rayleigh at first.
Right.
And it's not until I think, oh man, how far is it? I think it's when he's fighting. Is it when he's fighting I don't know when they reveal his actual, like.
I think it's brought up in just casual conversation. It's like, oh yeah, did I not tell you? He's Rayleigh.
Dark King Rayleigh. And he was the what? He's
the first mate of the Rogers Pirates.
Insane.
Insane.
One,
he's alive.
Right.
A Roger pirate crew member is here.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to dig under the barrel, technically,
Who, Crocus?
Shanks.
Oh, Shanks and Buggy, yes.
Buggy.
Okay, yes.
But you could call them, I guess they were like, I don't know, chore boys at most.
They were apprentices.
Right. But Rayleigh was a pirate of the Gold Roger pirate crew. He was in that gang.
He's the first mate.
He's the first mate.
He's second in command to the Pirate King. That's huge.
Right.
Like it goes Pirate King, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gold D. Roger. What is second to gold?
Oh, Silver's
Rayleigh.
Look at that. They knew what they were doing.
They sure did. They really did.
It's nice beautiful to see. Yeah, it's nice to see this character because again, it ties back into like One Piece, you know, the name of the story. It's nice that Oda finally tried to address that to some degree. And you even get like a little moment. I love this moment in this arc. You know, Rayleigh is basically telling them about, you know, he was part of Gold Roger's crew, giving some backstory on there. And I think Usopp kind of represents the audience a little bit. Usopp is like realizing, wait a second. This is his second in command. Rayleigh, do you know where the One Piece is? Is the One Piece real? The One Piece.
And what is Luffy says? Don't answer that or something.
Luffy
or somebody
tells Usopp to stop. Don't go because Usopp was going to continue his question.
Yes,
and
right.
He tells Usopp, no, do not do that because I don't want Rayleigh to answer that because if Rayleigh tells me if the One Piece is real or where it is, I'm gonna quit being a pirate.
There goes our adventure.
The adventure is gone. The whole point of this adventure is finding the One Piece, and I don't want a cheap way to get to it.
Well, it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. So, right. You're getting this inside information from Rayleigh would be.
He's gonna know he
knows.
He will tell you if it exists, and hell, he'll probably tell you what it is if you ask him.
Right. So it's like, hey, no, that's not what this is about. We didn't embark on this for a shortcut, you know.
Right. And I like that. That's good characterization of Luffy.
Right.
It's nice to see that. And you know, that's where fear started coming in, like, oh my God, I hope the One Piece is not like the journey. Is the One Piece the journey?
I've heard those people.
When they open the chest, is it gonna be a mirror and they see the crew in the mirror? It's like, oh, it's my friends. The One Piece is my friend.
Oh, I'm sure it's not, but if it was, I think I'd be okay if the journey was really worth it.
No, I would not be okay.
Kung Fu Panda, there is no secret ingredient. It's just you.
Kung Fu Panda is not. Oh my God. Oh God, no, never again, please. But it's a good moment in the arc for Luffy to just reaffirm that. And but you know, outside of the One Piece, you know, Rayleigh talking about it, you do get some bits of lore from Rayleigh. You get some lore on what exactly happened with the Gold Roger pirates. What happened to the Pirate King crew? And
why are you not captured? Why are you not in prison?
And what's the reasoning?
Because Roger turned himself in.
Exactly. This entire time, from the world news perspective, the Navy's viewed as the hero. First off, Garp is viewed as the hero of the Navy that captured
Goldie Roger.
And it's this big trophy, this big triumph for the Navy and the government saying, we did it. We're about to end this age of piracy. Congratulations. Turns out that wasn't the case. Gold Roger was such a goat. He had to turn himself in. That's insane.
But there's a reason he turned himself in.
What's that reason?
Rogers had a terminal illness. And he was always destined to die. And so he basically he didn't get the crew a pardon.
No, he just turned himself in. And I think the crew kind of just scattered about like the Dragon Balls after you.
Yeah, they disbanded. Yeah, they went their separate ways. They had their tearful goodbye. They revealed that that's when they went and recruited Crocus to join the crew to kind of see Rogers through his last voyage before turning himself in. But yeah, he was always gonna die, so it was like might as well
but I might as well go out on my terms, right? So that was always neat to just get that little bit of information with Rayleigh. I think Rayleigh drops a couple other things, but like those are like the major bits involving, you know, the pirate crew, how Gold Roger turned himself in, and just Rayleigh as a character is just freaking cool. I always love seeing Rayleigh in his introduction and later on in Sabaody and just every time afterwards when he makes an appearance. The guy is OP, or I mean, he's strong. He's really, really strong. He's really, really strong.
From what we could tell, again, he looks like a super cool character. Again, he's the first mate. He's dropping knowledge. If they want, he could go ahead and clear up everything we need to know about the One Piece.
He could.
He's a pivotal character.
Do you like his beard? Do you like how the way his beard is shaped?
I'm trying to remember.
You don't know how his beard is shaped?
Yeah, it's got like the lines, right?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, he's cool. He looks cool.
You know, funny enough, this is not the first time we've seen Rayleigh. Did you know that?
It isn't.
It is not. We've actually seen Rayleigh as early as, I want to say, the first 50 chapters of One Piece, roughly.
Rayleigh.
Around there. Mind you, he didn't look like this, right? But in some of these flashbacks, I wish I had the actual chapter number in, but it is an early One Piece. I'm talking like East Blue One Piece. You get these flashbacks where I think goodness, I don't remember the crewmates that they're flashing back to, but it's like flashbacks to the Gold Roger pirates, and you see Rayleigh, but Rayleigh doesn't have long hair. It's short hair. His beard is not long, but he has the lines in his beard. And you don't know that that's the second mate, or I'm sorry, the first mate of the Gold Roger pirates. You just see it as, oh, this is just some random person talking to these characters right here about whatever in this flashback. I think he may have been talking to either like maybe Shanks or Buggy or something, but it's a character that's like you would not even be blamed for missing him, because it's like, how would you know? How would you know this person's going to be important later? Bam! Turns out he's the first mate of the Pirate King. Insane. But Oda's a goat. He literally drew him.
Oh, I see it. I found it.
Who is he talking to?
He's talking to Buggy and Shanks. He's talking to Buggy and Shanks. And you wouldn't know. You honestly wouldn't know.
But you can tell it's him though, because
he does have the thing in the beard, right? So he has it in the beard.
Oh, this is why we always call it peak piece. You think a character is just some rando from down the street. Nope.
I will say it's one of those instances. Yeah, actually, I'm like reading up on it. It's almost the same as what they did with Marco, to where you saw Marco in a flashback, but they, like, for example, Rayleigh in this has like dark hair. I think he had blonde hair when he was younger. So they changed up
the color. Right. Same with Marco.
Yes, literally same with Marco. But dang, I didn't know that. I never realized that. Wow.
It's a nice fun fact. It's a nice.
The dude had it planned out, man.
He had it planned out. Peak piece all the way. And this arc is peak. We're about to get into why this arc is peak. So they realize, at some point as they're exploring the island, Cammy gets captured by slave like bounty hunters, I guess. They basically sell off potential slaves that they capture to the auction house, so
trying to make a buck.
Exactly. And this is where, oh my god, I love this, right? So you get the slave auction, and they're selling off all these slaves.
You love the slave auction?
Okay, choice of context and choice of words. I like what this leads into, because we were all feeling it at this point. You get this slave auction, and you get introduced to the world nobles, right? A new faction that was not introduced before in the story of One Piece. The world nobles, aka the Celestial Dragons, are these very snobbish, uppity, just very like ugly pieces of crap. In the
They're the 1%.
They are I like that. They're the 1%. Exactly. Yeah. They're the 1% of the One Piece world. They are so, I would say they're even up to the decimal point of the percentage, because they are so up there that they don't want to even breathe the same air as
they wear bubbles.
They wear bubbles. They're like, oh, we're not gonna breathe the same air as common folk. We're gonna put on these bubbles. And it's like, how does that work exactly? Are you smelling your own farts? Like, what's going on there?
They have a whole suit with like a whole breathing apparatus that filters the air and purifies it so they can breathe it in within their bubble.
When you have so much money, what do you do with it? What do you do?
You make that suit and go buy some slaves, I guess.
And we really start to see just how messed up the One Piece world is.
It's ugly.
I know we've seen some corrupt, Navy or government officials in the world of One Piece. We got introduced to some really messed up ones, like Dark Justice Rob Lucci, or I don't know, the mouse guy from Arlong Park, right?
We've seen people abuse their power, which is supposed to be for the greater good. And what is crazy about the introduction about the celestial dragons is that this is pretty much who the world government is trying to protect, and who sits like on their number one of most important, you know, held to the highest standard. Like, these are the people who they are making sure the world works for.
Exactly.
And they're scum.
They are we have not met a single. About that.
There's
There's theories. There's theories, right? But we haven't met a single good world noble yet. Yeah. Well, actually, technically, well,
they're okay. He's really good with storytelling, Oda. But
really good.
All right, representation right now. Yes,
at this point. You're led to believe that all world nobles are like what you see here, because you get introduced to like 3 of them. You get introduced, and I don't remember the other 2 names, but they're all related. It's the father, son, daughter.
Sister. Yeah.
But the son is the one you want to remember. What's his name?
Charlos.
Saint Charlos.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, go figure. Saint Charlos. Fantastic. The exact opposite. But you see how ugly these people are. They buy slaves, they use them for their own amusement. They ride them like horses, so that they can not so that they don't have to walk on the floor. And if they're too slow, they just shoot them, get rid of them, onto the next slave that they buy. It's some pretty gruesome stuff. Like, it's a little hard to watch in the realm of One Piece, because you're like, wow, this is the only class of people that are doing this in the mythos. Like, say what you will about Arlong. Arlong does not have a bunch of slaves in his house, in his little theme park, you know?
No villain has. I mean, the villains have been scum, but it's like no villain has treated anyone outside of being their enemy. It's like, if you're my enemy, I'm just gonna try to fight and kill you. They hold more respect for their enemies, the villains, than these people do for like people. You know, no matter what species they are, they're just above it all. They're above it all.
They are. It's crazy. The celestial dragons, I think, was genius for Oda to introduce, because it's kind of like you said. This is the class system that the world government is essentially protecting. And at that point, I think it's pretty damn clear, because, you know, the logic before this was, okay, there's a few bad apples in the world government, but just get rid of those, right? Get rid of the bad apples and, you know, keep the good ones. And the world government will be, you know, good for everyone, because they protect people. But when you see that the world government structure is made so that it's meant to protect these people that are the 1%, the ones that sit at the top, that's how you know, no. It's not a couple bad apples in the government. It's not a couple bad apples. It's the system of the government. That's a problem. Hit the reset button. Hit the reset button on this. So I love this introduction, because we get some satisfying moments, right? You go to the slave auction, right? And basically, Cammy was there to be sent off to be auctioned off as a slave, right? And essentially, everyone's trying to find Cammy. They're saying, hey, where are you? Where'd you go? Eventually, they make their way to the auction house. And kind of at the same time as this, you're getting introduced to other factions besides the world nobles. I guess not really factions, just other groups that are kind of walking around the island. And you learn that these are what are considered, what quote unquote, the supernovas of the One Piece mythos. The 11 supernovas. And what's the logic with the supernova? It's what is it? It's pirates with what?
They are rookie pirates.
Rookie pirates. Key.
They are 11 and rookie pirates that consist of well, 9 of them are captains, 2 of them are first mates.
Right.
And they have over 100 million in bounty, and they've been making waves in the Grand Line. And we didn't mention this before, but Sabaody Archipelago is the halfway point in the Grand Line.
It's kind of like a checkpoint, a little bit.
Yeah, no, good way to call it. It's a checkpoint. You come through here when you're ready to take on, I guess, the new world.
Literally, it's the next stop after this is Fishman Island, or because there's 2 ways to get to New World: Fishman Island by going underwater, or taking the special lift above to Marijua and then descending down on the other side. But Marijua, the actual HQ, is on the red line, so you can either go over the red line through the Marijua channel wave, or go to Fishman Island to take on the new world.
Right. And so they're all here. It's just timing couldn't be worse or better, but they're
how
all
convenient. They all came here at the same time.
Right.
And it's cool because, you know, the Grand Line is so massive. There are some islands that we have never seen before, but what's cool about establishing the supernovas is that, okay, yes, they kind of all left at the same time. So it's like, how did they not bump into each other at all? But you learn there's a bunch of channels of islands. Like, if you start off at any one point at the beginning of the Grand Line, you could have a completely different adventure to the guy that you started off with. And that's what these 11 supernovas went through. And I kind of like the imagery that Oda shows for this. He shows like kind of just like a map of the Grand Line and like maybe 100 islands throughout the Grand Line, just all scattered in the middle. And he shows these zigzags of like all the different directions that these supernovas likely would have taken. And it's like, yeah, hell no, they weren't going to bump into each other. It's a massive world.
Also, their starting points are different too. You know, Luffy and crew enter the Grand Line through Reverse Mountain coming from the East Blue. So it's like, take that into consideration as well. And then, yeah, some of these pirates are kind of pirates, and, you know, they're not like on a journey like the Straw Hats to where, you know, they're out here liberating people. Some of them got their own ambitions that are questionable.
Well, this is cool that you mentioned that, because this is the first time Oda's establishing kind of like a bit of like rivalry for the Straw Hats amongst a bunch of different groups. Luffy's not the only pirate crew seeking this level of fame and fortune. Like, yeah, we bumped into Don Krieg. Yeah, we bumped into Arlong. Sure, the Foxy Pirates. But these are like crewmates that are on the same journey, chasing the same dream as Luffy. Maybe not to the same degree, you know? Like you said, some of them are scumbags, but we still like them in a way. Let's go through them, right? So, who do you want to start off with?
I mean, it's cool. It's really cool how they introduce them too, because all the Straw Hats are kind of split up at this point, and they all kind of run into a different one. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know the order, but sure, let's just.
You don't have to go in order. Just
we'll save 2 of them. We'll save the auction.
We'll save the big ones. The big ones.
Dude, the auction house, like your background.
The auction house. We'll save the bad boys for the end.
Sure. There's Capone, Gang Beige.
Gang Beige. I always called him Beige. I don't know why.
Beige. Yeah, I think it's Beige. I think they pronounce it. He's basically Al Capone.
He's literally just Al Capone. And,
he's a gangster.
And his devil fruit's cool, you know. It's like a fortress type of deal. You get
you get to see that here, right? Don't you get to see that here? You get to see all of them, all their stuff.
You get to see majority of, I think, all of them in a way. It's hard to see what some of their devil fruits are, but Beige is one of them. Beige is one of the ones where it's like his body's like a fortress, and that's how he hides like his his army in his body.
His mob. It's a mob.
It's a mob. It's a mob. Right.
It's this whole little gimmick. It's funny. It's like, why is this dude a pirate?
Look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, Castle Fruit. He's cool.
Like
Jewelry Bonnie.
You don't get too much insight into what her abilities are. You do see what, right?
She's eating. Does she shift in size a little bit?
She keeps changing, like her age keeps jumping.
Right.
To,
but that's it. She's one of the ones you get the least most about here.
Right. Yeah.
Basil Hawkins,
a fan favorite. And what's his? It's like
voodoo. No,
voodoo. Yeah,
it's essentially voodoo, and he's got straw dolls and.
Right, he could basically like I don't know the rules about his abilities, but like essentially what you see in his display of his devil fruit, like if he gets a killing blow, he could transfer that to one of like his voodoo dolls on someone else. So a blow that would have killed him ends up killing someone else if he has a voodoo doll for that person. I'm sure there's more into it. But
Oda is getting creative with
very.
Yeah, it's something else now.
And also he has this gimmick with himself too. He's a tarot card reader.
Oh yeah, he's just charlatan, a magician. Yeah.
I have a 24% chance to die today, so I will not die. Like, he reads the future. It's like, okay.
God.
It's funny. I like
No, it's funny. It's just like we're getting a host of characters that all have character. Like Bonnie is rude and whatnot.
Snobbish, like a glutton, like always eating.
Yeah, a glutton, you're right. And Beige is like just this cool, calculated gangster. He's we meet Scratchman Apu.
Oh man.
He's funny. He's a long arm tribe.
He's from the long arm tribe, right? And does he have a devil fruit?
I don't know if he has a devil fruit. I know he's got the music gimmick.
Right, that's his whole thing. Like his teeth are piano keys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does have a devil fruit. I think it is that his body turns into musical instruments. The tone fruit.
His body just annoys me.
I mean, he's a sight to look at. It's ugly.
It's ugly.
Some ugly pirates being introduced.
Ugly pirates.
There's the Mad Monk, your rogue. He's
you don't
also
see a lot of him. Yeah, you
don't.
He has wings, implying that he
has wings.
He's a Skypian.
He's a Skypian. He sure is. So first time we've seen Skypian in the Big Blue, I think.
I think so. I think this would be roughly the first time. Yeah, in the Blue Sea.
In the Blue Sea, right? So far, pretty cool that he's here.
Right.
Just again, kind of expands the world as far as you thought we would only see Skypians in Skypia.
Right.
Shoot, there was this one running around the same amount of time that Luffy's been on his journey this whole time.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really cool. Like, and he carries this giant pillar everywhere he goes. I guess to whack people with it. It's cool. He's a monk.
He's a monk.
How far does that go? I want to know.
Right. There is X Drake. Red Flag X Drake. I thought when I first saw Drake, I thought this guy was going to be the coolest of them all.
Why?
I don't know.
Like how he looked?
Cool.
How he looked?
Yeah, he looked cool. And
he did look
cool. His devil fruit's pretty cool too.
An ancient zone.
Ancient zone type, right?
It's a T-Rex, right? It's a T-Rex.
It's a T-Rex. It's an Allosaurus, which is in the family. Family of T-Rexes. Jurassic Park fans go have a field day. He's a T-Rex, people. He's a T-Rex. That's cool.
That is cool.
Right.
And you get to see some of it later on.
You do.
Which we'll get to for sure.
Right.
And not only that, he has an interesting, I guess, background. He's not just any pirate. He's ex-military. He's
Yeah, I was
ex-Navy.
gonna say he's a former Marine, right?
Former Marine. Yes. And I forget
Right.
the rank that he was. I think he was captain. I think he was captain. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, former Marine turned pirate. You don't get a lot of those. If I'm not mistaken, he may be the first. If
yeah,
not the
former-
first and only? Isn't he the
Yeah,
only?
for sure.
Yeah. Which is crazy because it's like, wow, what made you leave the military to
This guy was a rear admiral.
rear admiral? I knew it wasn't something as small as captain. That's why I felt uneasy about it.
And that's pretty high.
That is really high. It's not the same as admiral, right? Like, you know, the three admirals.
Right. He's like maybe a couple steps below. He's below a vice for sure.
Right. Which, I mean, Vice is nothing to scoff at. Vice is pretty good as well.
I mean, Vice Admiral Garp. There you go.
Vice Admiral Garp. But yeah, Rear Admiral is pretty admirable. Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, very nice.
But yeah, he left the military. He left the Navy, and I kind of want to know. At this point, I want to know, why did he leave? What made him become a pirate? Was it corruption? Was it something selfish? Does he have a goal in mind? Again, you see enough of each of these characters to want to learn so much about them. Where you're like, wow, he's a monk. Wow, he's ex-Marine. Oh my God, he's a gangster. It's all cool. Oda's creating these new groups of people that you're like, oh my God, I just don't care about the Straw Hats anymore. Holy hell, what about these other guys?
The world is getting so much bigger, and
Yes.
and it's not that big of an arc.
It's one of the shortest. It's one of the shortest.
A lot happens.
And we have two more. We have two more before the big ones. The big.
Well, there's Killer, who's our first mate. Well, let's do it like this. There's Killer, and there's Zoro. Zoro is a supernova as well.
Right.
Because I think his bounty now is like 130 mil. So that gives him the rank.
Yeah. It's like
Right.
120, 130.
Right.
And Killer has something in the same boat as well. I think it's like 110, 100.
162. So he's above Zoro.
He's above.
That makes sense though, given the crew he's a part of.
Right. Right.
You know, Zoro has his bounty, but yes, Zoro is one too, which is cool that two Straw Hats make this roster of rookies to watch out for. You know,
Right.
that's really cool.
Right. I agree. These are powerful first mates to their respective pirate crew.
Right. Now, Killer is the first mate to Eustace Kid. Eustace Kid has the highest bounty currently of the supernovas.
What's his bounty at this point?
He's 315 mil
Okay,
to Luffy's
so 300.
300 mil.
Okay.
And that's because Eustace Kid doing some questionable things.
He's being a pirate. He's being
Right.
a pirate. And I think that's a good distinction for Oda to create, because like I like that he made these different groups, because with Luffy in the gang and them being pirates, sometimes you're questioning like, are pirates really a bad thing? I mean, Luffy's just on an adventure, you know? Maybe all pirates are kind of doing that. Well, except Don Krieg, except Arlong, except, you know, Foxy. But you know what I mean? Like what the Straw Hats are like the default option of like what a pirate crew should be out in the ocean. You would hope. You would hope. You would hope. And Eustace Kid being here is like an eye opener to remind you, pirates by default are bad. Luffy is the exception, not the norm.
Well, also too, it's just if Luffy and crew did not defeat the certain pirate groups who they did defeat, they might have been the supernovas, you know?
Right.
And we would have had a whole cast of pirates being the de facto definition of pirate, which is pillage and plunder and, you know, all the other bad stuff that comes with it.
Right.
So here's a guy, Eustace Kid, who is all that, and he hasn't been stopped.
And that's why he has that bounty. That's why.
And it's a high bounty, right? He's the highest of them all.
Because it also goes to his devil fruit. His
I don't know the name. You called it busted?
I call it busted. It's well, at the time I thought it was busted because you know, looking back at like what this was like maybe 2008, 2009 around the time this chapter would have dropped. At the time, the X-Men trilogy just wrapped up in 07. And you just got done watching Magneto destroy everything in his wake. In my head, I'm like, wow, Magneto's in One Piece. He can control metal. And that can be busted.
It can. It sure can. I don't think we've seen the biggest busted use of it yet.
Not yet. I mean, yeah.
But it has capability.
What's his move that he does? He says punk. Something?
He always says punk.
Punk shot. I don't know.
I don't know the name of the move, but yes, it's always punk.
Why? Is he a punk? Is that what he's I find it funny. I find it
maybe punk, like punk music, punk rock.
Heavy. Kind of like metal. Does he? Bit?
Yeah. Does he give you like punk rocker vibes?
I mean,
look at the pants. Look at his pants.
His pants, yeah, I guess. The black lipstick. He has black fingernails. He paints his nails.
I think he has eyeliner too on it. Parts. Yeah.
He's a fashionable pirate. He's fashionable.
He's giving me Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
From who's that? Green Day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Billy Joel Armstrong. Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing there's some punk-esque to it. Sure. He's here. He's here in the auction house as well with Killer. They're about to watch what happens down in the auction house. There is also Trafalgar Law.
This is peak design. Peak design.
Oh, looking at it, I thought it was the coolest of design. Like, this guy's badass.
Easily.
He just looks cool.
He looks good. Look at his tattoos on his fingers.
His fingers say death.
I just like him. He oozes drip.
And yeah, it's honestly funny enough. He's the most simplistic of the designs. He's wearing a hoodie.
That's it.
And jeans.
That's it.
And a pimp hat made out of sea leopard.
He kills animals for that.
He looks awesome.
He has a giant sword that's bigger than any sword Zoro's had. He looks cool. He's got the cool sideburns. He's got a goatee thing going on. He got bags under his eyes, but the bags look cool. I don't know. They look kind of slick. I don't know, man. This man's design. Oda peaked here. Oda peaked here in terms of just raw original character design. He peaked with Trafalgar Law. Don't at me. Don't bother arguing. It's fact. It's fact.
And little did we know that this would come to be one of the coolest and greatest of One Piece characters down the road. Like, easily. We had no idea what we were in for when this dude stepped on the scene. Not to mention his devil fruit is rightfully named because some people would refer to as the OPOP.
Because it is.
It's the op fruit, but you might as well call it the OPOP for the shit that it can do. Because
Shambles.
It can do anything.
It literally is it is the most busted devil fruit. It is the most busted devil fruit. You can't, and I know later on it's like, oh, but it's the gum fruit, the most powerful devil fruit in existence. No. This
thing can switch souls.
Oh my god, it can do anything. They can do
anything.
anything. If you're in the room, oh my, and even the way he does it too. He like shows his fingers, and it's just the way he poses. Room.
Now, I want to point this out, and it's cool how they did it in the dub as well. Do you know who the voice actor for
Oh wow,
Law is?
I don't know. No. Who is it?
Now again, this would come out a couple of years later. Law shares the same voice actor as Levi.
Oh, Levi from Attack on Titan.
Go listen to them side by side.
No, I hear it. I hear it. No, I hear it right now. I know what the dub voice of Levi sounds like, despite my disdain for the dub. But I like certain voices. Levi,
but it's the same in sub as well.
Yeah.
The sub and the dub, they're the same. They kept it the same.
Wait, it's the same guy or the same?
No. So the Japanese voice actor for Law is Levi, and vice versa, and the same thing for the dub as well.
Oh, you mean the got it.
Yeah.
So the Japanese VA does Law and Levi from Attack on Titan.
Yes.
And the English VA for Law also does the English voice of Levi. Okay. Yes, I hear it. I hear
Pretty
it
cool
right
how they kept that in the. They said, hey, they did the same thing here. We're gonna do the same thing.
But sir, I'm more qualified for Levi. I know how to do his voice. No, we gotta make it cool and like the Japan.
I mean, he does a good job. His name is Matthew. Matthew
Mercer.
Mercer. Yeah,
of course.
He does a really good job.
I think he does a good job as Law. I think he does a good job as Levi. It works. It really does work.
Phenomenal voice actor on both accounts.
Right.
Wanted to point that out just to add to kind of the coolness that is Law.
There you go. I didn't know that before about him, and now he's even more cool.
I think so. Him and his crew are here too at the auction house.
Yes, you see his I guess it's his first mate, Beppo. Beppo. He has a polar bear on his crew. Oh my god, I love the Heart Pirates.
Do we learn here? He's a doctor.
He's a doctor. He's technically a surgeon.
He's the surgeon of death.
He's the surgeon of death. Yo, you can't.
That nickname.
Get the hell out of here telling me there's any other better crewmate on this Supernova cast. I'm sorry. Law from day one.
He takes the cake. He's got it.
He's got it. Oh my god. Good old Law. Makes me want to go and buy a Law hat now.
Oh, damn. Hold up. Hey.
Look at that.
Right there.
Look at that. I need to get the part 2 hat then, the time skip.
Yeah, get the part 2 hat. Yeah, the part 2 hat's cool too.
I like it.
All right, so back to the auction house.
Right? Camie's being sold off, and they want to stop her from being sold off. How exactly does this happen? Hachi.
Oh.
What?
This is just a really good sequence in One Piece,
really
talking about
good.
Emotional strong points of the series.
Let me tell you, the anime did it better.
Yes, of course. Yes.
The anime did it better.
Yes. I felt this.
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't even, oh my God, I can't give you like frame for frame how it is, but yes, I think it starts with Hachi.
And
Hachi makes a plea or an attempt to go get Camie. But again, so what? I mean, again, I might be butchering this, but
do your best.
Charlos starts to shoot him, and
right, because well, first Hachi, they realize Hachi's a fishman.
Yeah, a fishman, right.
And everyone's reaction in the hall is basically like, "Oh my God, a fishman!
A fishman! What's a fishman doing here?
Oh, help me!
And mind you, what happens from there? It's like, oh, a fishman. Does he start shooting him from there?
Well, okay, so basically what happened was the flying fish riders, like, okay, here's what happened, right? The Straw Hats, like Nami, Sanji, Hachi, the rest of them, they get to the auction house first before anyone. They notice Cammy is there, and they start to go into a bidding contest with everyone to buy Cammy, because they're like, hey, Nami knows how to do this. Let her buy off Cammy, because everyone else is like, the mermaid's the big prize. So everyone's going to be wanting to buy them. So Nami is here basically saying, hey, we're going to buy her back. Don't worry about the money. We'll find a way, because we have money. We have money on the ship. St. Charlos is in this room as well. And St. Charlos, without even playing the bidding game, is like, 500 million berries. And at that point, it's like the game is over. The game is over. No one is outbid. First off, no one's outbidding him just based on how much money he has. And secondly, no one's going to dare to outbid one of the world nobles. Because what does that look like? You're literally trying to take something that they want. If someone in there could even afford 600 million berries, they weren't going to do it. Because they're like, well, I'm not St. Charles, that world noble wants that. I'm not going to try and fight him over it. So go ahead. Take your 500 mil. So the logic from here is, okay, we're going to take Cammy by force. We have to. Like, there's no other way. We're going to have to take her by force if we can't buy her. So in comes in the Flying Fish Riders. They crash in through the auction house. And Luffy's with the Flying Fish Riders along with Zoro. Zoro got lost earlier. Go figure. So the whole gang's here. They're at the auction house, and they're all trying to save Cammy. Luffy sees Cammy. She's like, oh my god, Cammy, I'm here to save you. Hachi tries to grab Luffy and say, Luffy, you can't do this.
Yes.
You promised. You promised you wouldn't do this. And at that point, that's when Hachi's his robe starts coming off of him. And that's when everyone notices, oh my god, a fishman. What the hell is he doing here? What the hell is a fishman of all people doing here right now? And it's just a lot of panic. Everyone's just screaming over each other. Luffy going for Cammy. Everyone's screaming in the back. Hachi trying to calm everyone down. And then you hear 2 gunshots. You hear 2 gunshots. Boom, boom. And everyone freezes because they're like, who shot who? You turn around. Luffy and everyone turns around. St. Charlos is standing over the body of Hachi. And mind you, Hachi went through an arc. Like, I know we kind of skimmed over it, but we touched on it. Hachi is a changed person at this point. Hachi's doing his best because he views the Straw Hats as his friends. He's trying to help them. He's a different person. He did some stuff in his past. He learned from it. He feels terrible about it. He wants to do something about that. He just got shot trying to stop Luffy from doing what he's about to do. And, you have Cammy screaming over him being shot. And St. Charlos is here just being St. Charlos, right? He's jumping up and down, excited, like, oh, look, I killed a fishman. I caught it by myself. Ooh, what's going on? Luffy is pissed. He starts doing the Luffy walk to St. Charlos. He starts doing the Luffy walk. And Hachi's bleeding, okay? From these gunshots.
He's bleeding out, yeah.
He's bleeding out. He stops Luffy. And this was, oh my god, you guys need to watch the anime. The manga did it really good, but the anime just does it so much
There
better.
are certain scenes where music enhances
and voice performance.
And voice, yes, vocal acting this is top tier right here.
I'm not overselling this. Just reading it, I cried. just reading this part again, like recently for this episode. I cried. Yo, my God, it's so good. It's so good. Hachi is just pleading with Luffy, saying, Luffy, please, even though I'm on the floor, just don't do it. It was my fault. It was my fault. You promised to not cross the celestial dragons. And he even starts tying it back to his past. He's like, I was a pirate before. This is what I get for the bad things that I've done. Please, I just wanted to help you. Don't attack him. And you even have Nami, who has not forgiven him, getting emotional on the other side of the room here. She's like, oh my God, Hachi. And oh my God. So St. Charles is not helping in this, right? He's basically saying, I shot you, Fishman. Why are you still talking? And oh my God. You get glimpses, right? You get glimpses of greatness right here. St. Charles. Oh, what?
Oh, no, I was thinking to myself, when Luffy was walking up, people aren't passing out, right? As he's
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened here.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
But you mentioned that. I think the anime excelled in this because I think it's a scene not a lot of people pay attention to. The manga didn't do it this way. The anime did it this certain way, which I think was a lot better. In the moment where Luffy is walking up to St. Charles, there are other people in, the auction house, right? And but they're all kind of like backed away a little bit because they're like, oh my God, what's going on? In the anime, when Luffy's walking up to St. Charles, you don't see anyone along the side of the stairs that Luffy's walking up. Like no one is sitting in the chairs off to the side. Luffy has tunnel vision right now. He like all the voices, all the distractions everywhere, like anyone talking, it's zeroed out. He doesn't care about it, what anyone's saying at this point. His focus, the only one in his line of sight.
Oh, I see now.
Do you see it?
I pulled it up. Wow, crazy.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. That was great.
Was great. He has tunnel vision right now with St. Charles is his goal. And the anime did this a little bit better. You get a little glimpse of some early form of hockey in here because St. Charles shoots him. You get some observation hockey, and you get a punch straight to St. Charles's ugly ass face. And it is the most impactful, the most satisfying punch I think Luffy's ever done.
Hands down.
And the anime just did it so beautifully. You just feel just the force, the intensity. You type in if you type in Luffy punch, it's going to auto search to Luffy punches celestial dragon. I guarantee you. That's how iconic it is. And Luffy sends this dude flying. That's the end of of volume 51. That is literally the last page on volume 51. Luffy's fist colliding with this piece of ass, world noble, sends him flying. This is peak.
Yeah, no, hands down.
This is peak. Period. It's peak. Oh my God. Like, what did you think about this scene? Did you enjoy it? Like, what? What'd you think?
Did I enjoy it? Of course. Again,
was it mid?
I think I probably cried too when I first saw this as well. Because again, this is one of this top tier like emotional bits in One Piece. It's just so sad, kind of how twisted the worldview is in One Piece. Hachi is begging Luffy to not punch this piece of shit who, you know, views Hachi as less than. And it's like, you know, Hachi is like, he understands his role and the role of Fishman in society. And, you know, he understands he's like a second-class citizen, but all he cares about right now is that Luffy and crew do not get punished for the mistreatment that he will suffer from. He's saying, I will suffer the mistreatment and injustices as a fishman for you, my friends, you know, to not get in trouble, to not have a harsher punishment than what I go through as a fishman, you know?
Genius.
And it's just, oh man. And on top of that, it's just a testament to all the Straw Hats in general. They were all ready to go.
Zoro was ready.
Zoro was ready. He said, if you didn't do it, I was going to slice that dude up. Like, you beat me to it, he says.
I love it. I love it. They're all on the same page. It's not Luffy acting irrationally. It's everyone that had the ability to do it were going to do it.
Yeah.
They were going to do it. 100%.
Like Chopper's at strong point too, so he's like, he's ready to go as well. You know, they're there, they're ready, and again, as a testament to the Straw Hats as a crew, it's like, yeah, bump the rules, man. We've been bumping the rules since, you know, who the hell knows when we started saying F the rules, but this is wrong. We are going to stand up for you, Hachi. That's what we do. We don't give a damn about the punishment. They shot the world flag at Enies Lobby, you know.
Right.
Maybe their exploits didn't reach Hachi, but it's like the Straw Hats are not to be fucked with. They don't care about the rules. They stand up for what's right.
Right.
And yeah, it's just it's expert storytelling here because, you know, it's just great. It's just great. It's peak piece.
This is why I never buy when people say One Piece is bad or One Piece is like mid, because I'm like, did you read it? Did you watch it? Like I have yet to experience someone that's watched something like this and not say it was good. This is fantastic. Yeah. Layers, like an onion, damn it. Like, oh my God. And of course, this is the punch that changes everything, right? This is the one that sets in motion the consequences that are to come, both long-term and short-term. Let's
it's unfortunate, but yeah, it is.
Let's get to the short term, right? He punches
a celestial dragon, so therefore the father, Charles's father, is there. He immediately demands an admiral,
right? Which the Straw Hats were informed of that earlier. Basically, laying a finger on a celestial dragon immediately calls for the attention of an admiral to arrive. And that's a big deal because the only admiral we've seen so far was Aokiji. And it's like, okay, there's more than one admiral. And look what he did, right? Luffy could not handle him when he first met him. And to be honest, he definitely still couldn't handle him even with his gear system at the time. So it's So it's like, who the hell else are you going to call? They call in the Navy. Navy's coming in at this point. They called in an admiral. And of course, you know, everyone's trying to get out, right? They go rescue Kami. Hachi and the rest of them run away with the rest of the Straw Hats. And then you get this standoff right here. The holy trinity of the supernovas, right? And at this point, it's kind of like what you may have said earlier.
The holy trinity.
I mean, is it wrong?
Yeah, no, that's accurate. It's accurate.
At the time, we didn't know. We just thought it was like, oh, interesting pairing. The three of them, Luffy, Kid, and Law. How is this going to play out? And they're literally, oh my God, just the foreshadowing of the dynamics between them. They're all like, the Navy's homing in on the auction house. they're trying to buy for time, and you get a showcase of all their powers. You know, Luffy, Gum Fruit, Kid with his Metal Fruit, and Law with his, you know, his Op Fruit. They're all competing with each other in this bout, and they're arguing with each other. It's like, oh my god, I never realized it started here. All these years
it starts
later,
here.
they're still doing this.
Yeah, it's like, don't get in my way. It's like, what? I'm gonna knock out all of them. What do you mean? I'm gonna like knock out all of them. And then Law's over here like, why don't y'all just both shut up? I'll take care of this. It's like, who are you, Traw? Right.
Traw guy. Oh no, not yet. Not yet.
But it's great. It's great. This these three captains just showing off. They're flexing in front of one another. Right. It's great. It's great. They do their thing. Great showcase.
Right.
And then it's a mad dash from there, right?
It's a mad dash from there, get to the boat. Well, the logic is right here, you know, Rayleigh already agreed to do the coding on the ship, but it's a process. It takes 3 days for the coding to happen. So the logic is at this point, run around and survive for 3 days, basically. And then we'll meet up. Well, the logic is, right, I think they're running away together, and they encounter I think Sentomaru, who's been on the island already. Sentomaru.
Is it the admiral, the girl?
He's not
I mean, not the admiral.
He's not a girl. It's not a girl, damn it.
The one with the like cut with the
Sentomaru's a guy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I was not aware.
Okay, to be fair, I'm making fun of you about it. When I was a kid, I thought Sentomaru was a girl.
I'm learning this today.
Wow, what was it? Was it the hair?
It's the hair, yeah.
It's the hair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the hair.
I don't blame you. It's Sentomaru is labeled as the bodyguard of Vegapunk and is in command of the Marines Science Unit. So that's a pretty big deal. You know, not an admiral, not a vice admiral, but still a very, very high title, considering we haven't seen Vegapunk yet in this story so far. But apparently they're a bodyguard for Vegapunk in the science division. Sentomaru is there, and Luffy's kind of struggling with Sentomaru. You know, Sentomaru is bouncing away all his attacks. Attacks are hurting Luffy as well, and he's like, "Wait, what's going on? How is Sentomaru hurting me by just regular punches and deflects? I'm a rubber man. How is this hurting me? What's going on?"
Oh, is that hockey?
Hockey. It's hockey.
I don't know why I said it like that, but
it's fine.
Early stages of hockey.
It's played off as a mystery right now. It's a wonder why Luffy's attacks aren't working, why it hurts when he gets hit by these people. There's a lot going on, and you also get the introduction of the pacifistas. Which at first, you know, the mystery is, wait, it looks like Kuma though, and Kuma is over there fighting some of the other supernovas. How is there another Kuma right here? And the big distinction, of course, is that the pacifistas do not have the paw fruit abilities. They don't have the paws on them. They're just modeled after what's it called? Kuma. They look like Kuma. They're the size of Kuma, and they have a gimmick with them, right? They open their mouth a lot.
Yes.
And they have this giant Omega Beam, blah. But however, that Omega Beam is based off of a character. It's based off of the ability of a certain admiral that makes his debut in this arc.
I was not aware it was based off of him, but that makes sense now.
Yes, those beams that come out. Yes, that is from the light fruit, who is for go on.
Admiral Borsellino, or better known as Admiral Kizaru.
Kizaru. Oh. That's his trademark quote. He's always surprised of everything. Yeah, Kizaru gets introduced here, and he has like this very nonchalant way of handling things. He's kind of polite in a way. He kind of just approaches you and says, "Hey, can you help me? I'm trying to find the Straw Hats. They punched a world noble. Do you know where they are?" And you have all these pirates freaking out like, "Jesus Christ, it's an admiral!" And they don't help him, so he's like, "Oh." And he kills that beam. He has the light fruit, which is again, we keep saying it for all these devil fruits, is one of the most busted devil fruits out there.
Oh, for sure. He's pure light.
Pure light. Speed of light. Can turn things into light. It's crazy. The man rode in on a cannonball that was fired from a ship. That's how he rode in on the island. The cannonball fired, and he jumped on the cannonball, and he's like basically T-posing onto Sabaody. He didn't have to do that. He did not have to do that. He could have just zipped his way over to the island, but no, let's play games. Let's play games. Why not? You're a light man. You're at the speed of light. You can do whatever you want. So this guy is just going around fighting off the supernovas. He beats up a lot of like, the monk one. I think he squares off a little bit against Drake. And you see all the supernovas kind of fighting off on their own. They're fighting off some of the pacifistas, and these things are powerful. They're not going down. And the question is, what the hell? Like, why won't these things just die? Turns out it's because they are mechanical. They are robots created by Vegapunk.
Dr. Vegapunk. Not our first mention, right?
Not our first mention. The first mention of Vegapunk was when Luffy met Kobe in at the end of Water 7. That was
yes. Kobe was speaking high praise of Vegapunk.
Right.
And now we get a direct kind of showcase of Vegapunk's genius.
Yeah. He made not just one, multiple robots.
Is there 7 here?
I'm not sure how many are here, but it's a good number.
I know there's at least 4.
Right.
It is a good amount. Yeah. They're here.
And Luffy in this fight, again, the dynamics of One Piece are changing. They're changing. Luffy in this fight realizes we're struggling with Sentomaru, Sentomaru's not even an admiral, okay? Not a vice admiral either. Sentomaru is just a bodyguard for Vegapunk, and he's running circles around Luffy. And you also have the pacifista. For the first time ever, Luffy is saying retreat. He tells everyone of the Straw Hats, split up, retreat, and survive for 3 days until the coding process is finished. That's what they try to do. You never got that before. Luffy's acting like a captain here, right? Because Luffy's always the first one to charge in. He's like, all right, ikuzo, kaizo koni, nakama. He's doing his little Luffy thing all the time. Here, though, it's like, oh, man, come on. Damn. He's telling his crew to retreat. That's a big deal. That is huge for his character.
I think it's the first time they ever had a call retreat.
It is. I think it's one of the best. I think it's a pivotal moment in his character and just the Straw Hats in general growing, learning that it's a big world out there. And there are more powerful forces out there. You can't just go in and go Gomu Gomu no giant Gatalingan. You can't do that all the time, damn it.
Or you can't punch a celestial dragon without dealing with the repercussions.
And these
No
are the
matter-
repercussions.
No matter how just of an action that was, look what it now amounted to.
Your crew is now in scramble mode.
And I'm not saying Luffy was wrong for punching him,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
but they did not know what they were up against or just how difficult. I mean, this is the entryway to the second half of the Grand Line.
This is the checkpoint.
Right.
Just
This is
the checkpoint.
They call it a checkpoint for a reason. Either you're ready or you're not. And this put it in perspective. They are not ready. They've defeated only one of the pacifistas. And it took the
All of
monster
them.
trio to defeat it.
Yes, Zoro, Sanji, Zoro with I think he does Asura. That
Oh, does
ugly
he?
ass form.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong, but Sanji does Diable Jambe, and
Right.
then the Luffy, I don't know, giant.
He's gear second.
Gear second. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, the monster trio. They
It took
go
three
in
of
on
them.
it. Took 3 of them. Exhausted after this fight. Bam, another pacifista comes in.
Another one. Right. Right.
Run. Get out of here. And on top of that, Kizaru's here. Trying to lay out some of the Straw Hats. You have Zoro coming in, trying to fight off Kizaru, a man made of light. Obviously, it's not going to work. And then you have him about to lay on the killing blow. Again, anime does this better. You know, everyone's coming in trying to save Zoro because it's a final attack. It's an attack that's going to kill because Zoro, his wounds have not healed from Thriller Bark, damn it. They are still doing damage to him.
If that
He
wasn't
can't-
perspective enough that they're not ready with the
They are not. And in comes in Kizaru. It looks like he's about to kill Zoro. And then bam, who comes in? Who comes in with the save?
bam kick. Ooh, Dark King Rayleigh.
Oh. He
Mind
stops
you-
his kick.
Yes, and mind you, they were trying to stop Kizaru, and none of their attacks were working because he's pure light.
Oh, right. You have Usopp like trying to shoot him with his shots. You have Luffy and Sanji trying to kick him and punch him. Nothing's working.
Nothing is working. But Rayleigh is able to connect with his leg and stop his attack.
And there you have it. The mystery continues. What the hell? How is he touching him? How is he touching him? Insane. Insane.
Insane.
I love this. I love this. Peak piece at its best. And basically, Rayleigh says, oh, you youngins go on. I'll hold them off. And I feel like Kizaru can do a lot more than what he's doing here, but he's like, oh, let me get a light sword and fight you with your sword? Like, Kizaru, you're made of light. What are you doing? I feel like it's part of the joke with this is genius. This is genius what Oda did with the 3 admirals at this point, with how they're balanced out with each other and their devil fruits. Aokiji has the ice fruit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You would think he's cold as ice as a person, but he's kind of the warmest of the admirals, right? He's compassionate. He's very
Yes.
open-minded. He's not stone cold as his devil fruit would imply. Akainu is like, he has the warm fruit. He has the magma fruit. It's a warm person. He's the worst one out of all of them. He's the most evil one.
He's quite explosive at times. Yeah.
He's quite explosive. And then with Kizaru, he has potentially what is like the fastest devil fruit and the most busted one in existence, but he's doing the slowest things imaginable. Oh, hit him already. Do something. Kizaru is his own limitation to his devil fruit.
It's a good analysis.
I like it. But yeah, Rayleigh and Kizaru have their own fight off screen. Rayleigh's holding him off. And then you have the best scene in I think it's it's really hard to say which one's the best. It's up there. You have this scene, anime does it better. You have this scene. What happens?
What, they're running away and here comes Kuma?
The real Kuma.
The actual Kuma, right.
He holds a Bible. That's how you know it's him.
Right. And what? Zoro? Is he the first?
Yep. He gets in front of Zoro and he says, "Where would you like to go?" Okay. God.
Mind you, they have no idea what just happened.
I think perspective is important here. Because as a reader, knowing this is a shonen manga, you know Zoro's not dead. No shit, Zoro's not dead. From the perspective of the crewmates, he could be dead.
Yeah.
He might as well be dead. And Nami updated them on what she noticed because she's the only one that saw his devil fruit in action on Thriller Bark. She's like, yeah, there was this ghost girl and he made her disappear. I think she might be dead. She disappeared out of existence. Zoro is gone. Zoro is now gone. And it's just a mad dash of like, oh my God, run!
It's one by one. You watch them one by one.
They put up a fight, try as they might, Usopp, Brook, and not in this order, but Usopp, Brook, Nami, Luffy. Oh my God, Luffy. Oh man, I wish I memorized the voice actress's name off the top of my head. I honestly don't. I'm really bad with this, but Luffy's Japanese VA sells this moment so well. Like every time a crewmate disappears, just the way she says their names, like it.
Oh, it is.
You feel the hurt.
It's horror. It's horrific.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's devastating. You're the captain. You watch your crew. Mayumi Tanaka.
Tanaka. Oh my God. I hope I remember this.
You watch. He literally saves Luffy for last, and then Luffy is just so defeated. Mind you, everybody, they try to put up a fight. Chopper went monster point again.
Monster. Oh my God. Chopper went desperate. Chopper was like, he saw again. He thinks everyone's dying. He's like, I gotta do something. I have to do something. Monster point. Bam. I got to. A form of desperation. Gone as well. Gone. Disappear. Bam.
And then, Luffy's last, and he's writhing in emotional pain. He's crying. He couldn't save anybody,
And the anime does this. The manga doesn't do this. Each crewmate is represented by a bubble. The bubbles that are floating.
The bubbles that float around, yeah.
Whenever a crewmate disappears, one of the bubbles pop. And that doesn't happen in the manga. The anime did it. The anime was peak right here. Every time a crewmate disappeared, boop, a bubble popped. And when Luffy's there, like you said, on the ground, like you guys need to watch this. I'm sorry. Like this scene is so beautiful because from Luffy's perspective, he just lost his crew and he's
Everybody.
he's just writhing on the ground. Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Luffy at his worst so far. At his worst so far. He lost his crew and he doesn't know what to do. He failed as a captain. What the hell? And last but not least, Luffy gets okay. And his last bubble pops. To be continued.
What a way to close an arc.
Let me tell you something. I don't care what anyone says. Sabaody is, in all honesty, top 3 for part 1 arcs. 3 time skip arcs. Top 3.
I mean, it's just so much happens and it's really good. It's an emotional high. The action bits are, I mean, devastating as they are. They don't necessarily win. They're incredible as far as perspective. It's just a game-changing arc. Here, again, we kind of thought the Straw Hats were good. They're about to enter the next half of the Grand Line. They just beat a warlord. They beat CP9.
They're on a high right now.
Right.
2 warlords.
2 warlords, right. And you know, we start off here fine. You know, we meet Silver's Rayleigh. You know, we got the backing of the first mate of Gold Roger. And it was like, we're fine. But then Oda said, I need to humble y'all's asses because y'all not even close to where you need to be. Y'all not ready. And he sends Kuma back in. Kizaru's here too. This Satomaru, who's not even anybody. The pacifist.
Who are you people?
And they just wreck and they put things in perspective. The Straw Hats got work to do. And, you know, it's similar to that when they first got beat by CP9, except they overcame that within a day. That gap.
They just needed that rematch. Like, oh, okay, that was round 1. Can you take me in round 2?
That's not the case here.
They lost here. They lost.
They lost. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's just a straight up loss. Ain't no if, and, or but around it. They lost, and it was a terrible loss.
I think they literally even said that in here. They said on this day, the Straw Hat Pirates lost. Like it just happened. And it's something where it subverts your expectations in the best way possible. Because it's like, okay, here it is. Grove 12, Sabaody Archipelago, the Grand Line. That day, the Straw Hat Pirates, led by Captain Monkey D. Luffy, were eradicated. Bam. Lovely. I love that. Kuma drops a line right before he sends away Luffy. He's like, we're never going to see each other again. Goodbye. And in hindsight, Kuma was doing them a favor.
No, yes, for anybody who's ahead and, you know, knows, Kuma saved their asses.
Yes, they were not. If Kuma did not do what he did, the Straw Hats would be dead.
Well, not only did like Kuma save them, Kuma set them up for greatness.
Right. Because it's kind of implied, you know, when he's asking where do you want to go, he kind of sends you where you need to be
to go. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, where they end up going, we'll save that for the next arc, Amazon Lily, because that's where they kind of elaborate more on that. But yeah, it's at this point, you know, Oda's not going to kill off the main character, but
let alone the whole main cast.
Could the story have ended here if it said the end? The Straw Hats were eradicated.
All 9 of them just dead. Right off
God,
rip. Right.
it was the journey that mattered, right? It was the journey.
I mean, it's the journey that matters, but damn, that destination, if this was it, that was trash. We did not come here to see all 9 of them die in one frame.
Turns out it happened. Again, Oda did something that was not done in One Piece before, and that was really subvert your expectations in the sense of you expected to come to this island and expect who's the next baddie? Who's the next baddie that Luffy and them gotta fight?
Who I gotta punch to get closer to the One Piece?
That's been every arc. Since then. Of course, there's differing goals in each arc, but for the most part, who the hell do I gotta punch to get off this island and be king of the pirates? Kaizo Koni. Who do I gotta punch? That does not happen in this arc.
Well, he punches someone.
He does punch people. It doesn't work.
But I mean, like the ipso facto punch was St. Charlos. I don't think anyone, again, like I said earlier, it was just, but no one, I think, saw this ripple effect as a result.
Right.
Like you were cheering for Luffy in that punch. And then in retrospect, to the unknown viewer, this was the worst thing that could ever happen.
Exactly. I love Sabaody. I mean, this is the end of Sabaody. It's left off on a very unfortunate moment.
I don't think any of the other arcs end on cliffhangers like this, other than say like Water 7 for sure. I guess cliffhanger, but I count that all as kind of one giant thing, But this was a straight up cliffhanger.
Right.
You had no idea what was gonna happen next.
I agree. You don't know, and I mean the crew is not going to the same place. The crew is split up, and it's like, how do you tell the story from here? What is Oda planning right now? What's gonna happen? And I think that's reading One Piece at this time. Now, I wasn't reading it up to date at this time when these chapters were coming out originally. I can imagine how the fandom was though when these chapters were dropping.
I'm sure he might have put I would hope he put a week in between the new chapters and just make people sit on it and be just like,
wait,
what the fuck just happened? Where did answers?
They lost. What do we do? Yeah, top three arcs in pre-time skip. Don't at me. I'm sorry. It's facts. It's really facts. You cannot convince me otherwise. Technically, I want to say this is the end of Sabaody. This is what I consider the end of Sabaody, but technically,
I consider this the end.
Technically, the next arc which is after this, Amazon Lily, is considered part of Amazon Lily. I'm sorry, a part of Sabaody in terms of in terms of like a saga in a way. It's really weird. I get it. Officially that's what it is. I'm gonna use my own headcanon. I'm sorry, Viz Media or Toei or Oda, whoever decided this. Sabaody is its own arc. Amazon Lily is its separate arc.
Yeah, I've always considered it a separate arc. Yeah,
I'm counting Sabaody on its own as one of the GOATs. And yeah, I mean, I really got nothing else to say on Sabaody. It's a great arc. Subverts expectations. No idea where it's gonna go from here, and what it did for the world of One Piece is one of the reasons why I prayed Enies Lobby, or the end of Enies Lobby, with how it expanded the world with the epilogue, right? Because you get Garp, you get Kobe, the Vegapunk drop, the new world. You get all these world expansive things that, I mean, we praise Goda for, but now you're getting it again, but as an entire arc. It's not an epilogue. It's an entire arc centered around world expansion. I'm sorry. If anyone out there is listening to this and they think Sabaody is like not one of the greatest arcs of One Piece, you're objectively wrong. I'm sorry. I said it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. If this is just it's peak piece. Again, emotional highs are here. As you said, the world expansion is here. And it's all done in a relatively short arc, and it's crazy what it accomplishes.
It's like 3 to 4 volumes. It is short. It's about the same length as Thriller Bark, maybe a little bit less than that in terms of volume length. It's not that long. It's very, very short.
Yeah, no, it just works, man. It's just so much happens here. It's just crazy, and it's good. It's really good.
It is.
It's peak piece.
It's peak piece. It's peak piece, baby. Baby, the One Piece! The One Piece is real! Can we get much higher?
So high. There you go. Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Sabaody. Any final thoughts on just in general? I think we kind of
we settled it. Again, this is the greatest setup I've ever seen.
It is easily
for a saga. This is a saga. What is it?
Call
the Marine.
Marine.
It's part of that saga. The Marine Ford saga, the Summit War saga.
Summit War saga. That's what it is. This is a great intro. This is a great intro. Easily.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Easily. So next week, or can't say next week. We'll see when the next time is. But next time we'll be covering Amazon Lily. There's
some stuff to talk about.
There's some cool stuff. Amazon Lily literally is one volume. It's only one volume.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Amazon Lily's really, really short because after that initial volume is Impel Down. Right after that.
Oh wow, it's only 14 episodes. I never realized that. Okay, yeah, it's okay. They did it right. Cool.
They went and they did what they needed to do. But yeah, I would say that wraps up the thoughts of Sabaody Archipelago for the Yonko table. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. Let me know how you rank Sabaody. Sabaody might not be your favorite arc. I understand that. But if it's not in your top 3, if it's not in your top 5 arcs in One Piece, I'm sorry. I'm going to question your critical thinking skills. I'm sorry. It's like one of those things where, like, if a dog, barks at you when it's a nice dog, it's like, that's concerning. The dog probably senses something, so I'm not going to trust you. This is my dog right here. This is my doggo, my warning dog. If you, for some reason, do not put Sabaody in your top 5 of pre-time skip One Piece arcs, I'm concerned. We at the Yonko table are concerned. But either way, let us know your thoughts down below. What you think of Sabaody. What were your expectations going into Sabaody? Did it subvert them? Did Oda subvert them? And did you like the introduction to a lot of these big name characters that we grow to love and become fond with later on in the story? I think Oda did a great job planting the seeds for the next 10 plus years of One Piece, because we are seeing the fruits of those seeds being planted. And it's great. It really, really is great. But let us know what you think. Give us a shout out. Give us a listen onto all your streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at the Yonko Table. Check out our God of War streams on at Dr. Jace Attorney, where, oh man, it's a long game for sure. But tune in, check out the link tree down below. We got all the links down in the description box. And if you want to join the discourse, check out our Discord. Again, all the links down below. But with that, everyone, that wraps up this week's episode of the Yonko Table. I'm your Yonko host, Dr. Jace Attorney, and fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop. signing off and being sent off in different directions from the pawpaw fruit.